Hey folks, I'm Steve Adubato. More importantly, I want to introduce you to the first guy of this type we've ever had in the studio. He is Matt Serra. He is the former UFC Welterweight Champion, and I've watched many of his fights in the Octagon.
Excellent.
Right?
Yes, the Octagon.
On April 7, 2007, in UFC 69, I watched him against George St. Pierre, considered one of the greatest fighters of all time. It was a pretty big upset. You won the championship, right?
Yes, I did. Thank you for bringing that up. Don't bring up the rematch while I'm here.
Oh, was there a rematch?
No, that's a rumor. There was a rumor about a rematch. Yeah, but the first one went well. Thank you.
And George St. Pierre, again, considered by many to be so great. You were a huge underdog. Describe going in that fight, why you were so confident, Matt.
Well, you know, I'm known, my background is in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
By the way, before you go any further, do you mind if I plug
my schools?
You and your brother Nick. You have schools are called the Serra BJJ Academy, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
Yes, it's Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. It's serrabjj.com. And again, we teach Brazilian Jiu Jitsu to the masses, from 8-year-olds to guys in their 50s.
And you grew
yourself could be a student.
You grew out in your island and grew up in the island, right?
Yes. I grew up in East Meadow, Long Island.
So describe that fight again and why it was so huge. We're going in. What were you feeling?
Oh, well, let me tell you. Huge underdog, obviously, because George is quite the stud, and he was just going through people. You know, I felt I had a trick up my sleeve. You know, I'm known, again, as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu expert. I get the fight to the floor in my previous fights, and I win either by submission or dominant position, and work the guys over down there. That's what I was known
Excuse me for interrupting. Welterweight, about 185, right?
Well, maybe now in the off season with the pasta, but no, welterweight's 170.
170.
Yeah. Yes,
that's the limit.
170-pound limit. Yes.
185 is
middleweight.
Middleweight. Okay, yes. Welter. Got it.
Yes.
Go ahead. So 170 going in.
Yeah. So big, big underdog on paper, but in sparring leading up to the fight, I've been having good results and hurting people with the 16-ounce gloves. So when we have these little gloves going in there, me being known as a ground expert, I felt I had hey, there I am. Look at those abs.
Man, you're ripped.
Listen, a couple of months without the pasta, that's what I look like.
Right.
But
so you're doing the 16-ounce gloves.
Yeah, when I'm sparring leading up to my fight. So in the fight itself, you wear your, smaller gloves. I've had good results in my boxing.
You could hurt people with those.
Oh, you sure can. And I did. And I won the title.
When you win it like that, and when people didn't expect it, but you did, describe right after what it feels like.
Oh, wow. I mean, you're
the king then, right?
Yeah, right? It doesn't matter what happens the next day, what happens tomorrow, what happens the rest of my career. Everything else was going to be gravy, because I lived my Rocky movie right there. So
that was it right there.
Yeah, and being a big Rocky fan, I felt like I lived my, Rocky, Cinderella Man, I lived it, but the MMA version, which is even cooler because it's a cooler sport.
It's so interesting. By the way, stay on that, because being a fight fan for a long time and watching boxing and watching UFC moves faster. And with boxing, it's so unevenly matched so often, and there are very few really good fights. UFC has overtaken boxing on so many levels.
Yeah.
Dana White's done an incredible job with UFC, great marketing, branding, taking over the smaller, if you will, brands. Question, where is boxing? Where's UFC?
Well, I mean, I think that they're two different animals, even though they're both combat sports. Boxing, it's not like back in the day with Mike Tyson, where everybody's gathering around waiting for this is going to be great. Boxing, again, it's UFC, mixed martial arts.
Right.
UFC is the sport of fighting, and in that you could use not just your hands. In boxing, you got a couple things to worry about. And you have, in mixed martial arts, in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, you got your left, your right, you have your elbows, you have your knees, you have your legs. If it's not working out for you upstairs, you could take the fight to the floor. You could arm locks, chokeholds, and it makes it way more exciting. Personally,
exciting. But here's the thing: in New York State, where we are obviously taping, we're here in our Tisch Community Studio, Lincoln Center, not legal.
You know what?
Like, you couldn't fight down the street in your place, Madison Square Garden, where I know you want to fight, right?
Yes.
You couldn't do it.
I believe they are working on that. I mean, it's one of
years
two
it's been going on.
states. I mean, only us and only
Two
New York
states,
and Connecticut.
that's it.
I fought in New Jersey before. I fought in Connecticut before. I don't.
Tell folks how safe you think it is.
Well, let me tell you, I could personal experience without getting into all the, the experts and what the everything that they comparing it to football, a lot of other sports out there, football, hockey, I don't know, a number of them, very violent, very dangerous, but people are used to it. So then when they see mixed martial arts and they lump it in there like, oh, look at this, it's a street fight. That's an uneducated person looking at that. I mean, I've been fighting since 2001 in the UFC, nothing more than a few stitches, and I feel like I got my marbles.
But it's interesting. You started fighting. When did you know you wanted to fight?
I was a lifelong martial artist. I mean, other kids growing up playing Little League. My father had me watching Kung Fu Theater, Bruce Lee. That's what I grew up on, I used to do Wing Chun Kung Fu as a kid. And then in my high school years, my father turned me on to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, the Gracie family, Renzo Gracie.
Right.
My college was right here in Manhattan. It was the Renzo Gracie Academy.
Right.
That's Renzo Gracie, from obviously the famous fighting family of the Gracies.
Right. They wore the gi.
Yes.
They were
one
of the last to
sure.
wear it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they
champions.
fought in that back
Right.
in the day. Now
Right.
it's, now
It's a different sport.
It's a different sport. It evolved.
And describe, because that's that academy. Describe your academy with your brother Nick today.
Well, you know what? I mean, I pass on Brazilian. I teach Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. That's my that's my love. That's my passion. But we also teach Muay Thai, wrestling, kickboxing.
More of you.
Look at this guy. Wow.
Is that no pasta?
That's no pasta, unfortunately.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, this is pasta, but the suit holds it together nice. And at 5'6", every pound shows. So I got to make sure Dana White always busts my chops.
By the way, I mentioned Dana twice now. Dana White is the president
Yes,
and CEO
the president of
UFC.
the UFC and a buddy of mine, and he likes to break chops in the off season with me.
But you're still tied with these guys. The last time you
Yes.
fought, I believe, September 2010.
Yes, was my buddy Chris Lytle.
Okay, because you said something. You made an interesting comment talking about Rocky.
Yeah.
There's a great line in the Rocky movie. Rocky wanted to come back. Why? Because there's what going on in the basement?
Oh, he had some stuff in the basement.
Some stuff in the basement.
I've
The
used
stuff
that
would-
before when
the
people
stuff
ask,
would
"Are
be
you
what?
retired yet?" That's when Paulie goes, "What? You haven't peaked yet?" Listen, I know those movies. Forget about Rocky V, but the rest of them I know them all.
Well, you got any stuff in your basement?
You know what? I'm going to be 39 in June. I'm headed out. If this thing got legal in New York, hopefully by the fall, I would love a goodbye fight at the Madison Square Garden. Is that too much to ask?
Against?
I mean, you see, Matt Hughes is a former.
Come
nemesis
on,
of
you
mine.
and Matt were
That
like
would be
this,
beautiful.
right?
Yes. That would be great. That would be
I
great.
saw you and Matt when you did the thing on Spike,
Yes,
no?
we did
Spike
the
TV.
Ultimate Fighter.
That
We
was
coached
great
versus each
TV.
other. That was great TV, and we had a very close fight, which he won by a narrow position.
You could do that again, the Madison Square Garden.
We could if it was legal here. Do you know any people? You got to make some calls, Steve.
Listen, but that would be great.
You're on
By the way-
TV.
By the way, plug your family, because you have 2 daughters, right?
Yes,
And you got another one on the
Angelina,
way, right?
Maria. I have Angelina, my 4-year-old.
Angelina, Maria,
Yes,
all
Maria.
Irish names. Go ahead.
And and most likely, I'm pushing for Sophia is going to be here in June. Yeah.
And even though your family's growing, you got the 3 beautiful daughters, which you said is tougher than the octagon.
Yeah, that's rough. Well, maybe not right now, but in their teenage years, that first GSP fight, somebody comes in, a boy comes over, that's going to be on loop for sure.
That kid comes in.
He comes in, I go, "What are you watching, Mr. Serra?" "Oh, no, that's a fight of me back in the day. And just me handling business."
You just happen to have it
Yeah.
on TV.
And if it's going to be a
On a
revolving
loop.
door,
On a loop.
he's going to walk right out. Yeah.
Matt, listen, it's an honor to have you on.
Thanks for having
I wish
me.
you nothing but the best.
Thank you so
And,
much.
When things do become legal here in New York State, plug everybody, make sure to go check Matt out. Also, you and your brother Nick, your academy, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much for having me,
best.
Steve. All
Take
right.
care of yourself.
Thank you.
This is Steve Adubato. This is the Tisch WNET Studios in Lincoln Center. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. That was great.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System. Funding has been provided by Hackensack University Health Network, Sun National Bank, New Jersey Natural Gas, United Water, County College of Morris, the Merck Company Foundation, and by Fedway Associates, Inc. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.